Hey Scratchers. So this is your lesson on messages in Scratch. The goal is that you'll understand what messages are and how to use them in your Scratch program. So a message is basically a way of creating events in Scratch. In Scratch, a sprite can broadcast a message or it can receive a message. The message is given a name by the programmer. All sprites will hear the message at the same time, and you can program sprites to do something when they hear the message. So these are the three message blocks. You can see that when I receive message is an event. So that's something that can start a chain of code. Broadcast sends a message to all the sprites. Broadcast and wait sends a message, and then it waits until something else happens before it continues. Let's take a look at an example of broadcasts in Scratch. So this is a game that I made that illustrates how broadcasts work. When I click the green flag, I've got this little spaceship and I've got enemies to avoid. And what you'll notice is that I have a lot of different enemies and multiple kinds. When I press the space bar, I can blow all of them up at once. And I can also stop the game. So if I need to quit, I can hit the letter Q and it ends the game for me. Let's look at the code that makes this work. So there's a bunch of code for my rocket ship, but what I want to focus on is when the Q key is pressed, broadcast endgame. So both of these sprites, when I receive endgame, stop other scripts in this sprite. This means don't run any code. This jellyfish also has when I receive endgame, stop all other scripts. And the rocket ship also has when I receive endgame, stop other scripts, do one more thing, which is to say your score for the game. So this way, when I press the letter Q, all of the sprites in my game do the same exact thing, which is to stop. Now let's look at how I was able to do the bombs. So when I press the space key, first it checks if I still have any bombs left by checking my bombs variable and saying, is that more than 0? If it is more than 0, then it subtracts 1 from my total number of bombs and broadcasts this message, kaboom. The ladybugs, when they receive kaboom, increase my points by 1 and then delete the clone. The jellyfish, when it receives kaboom, changes my points by 1 and becomes invisible, which means I can't interact with it anymore. It's basically just gone. So using broadcasts, I'm able to have multiple different types of enemies that all respond to the same thing. Because they let you create events, there's a ton that you can do with messages in Scratch. Your assignment this week is to use messages to improve your Scratch project and to spend 1 hour working on your project this week. If you have questions, leave a comment for me in Google Classroom. Other than that, happy programming.